So Jessica, let's talk about how we handle certain objections. The first thing I want us to focus on is I want us to isolate the objection. This is where the 1 to 10 script comes in handy. So if I say, where are you on a 1 to 10? And you say 9, and I say, what keeps you from being a 10? And you give me, what's the objection you're going to give me?
Well, I have a lot of listings, and based off my contract, I have to leave them behind.
Cut script. So perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to affirm their objection. We're going to say that makes total sense, or I totally understand that, or great, or something like that. Then we're going to ask the follow-up question. So please give that to me one more time. On a scale of 1 to 10, where are you?
I'm a 9.
Great. And what do you think it would take to make you a 10 today?
Well, I would be fearful of losing my listings, and that's the difference right there.
I totally understand that. I know how hard you work to get those listings. So if I could remedy that for you, would you be a 10 today?
Yeah, I would.
Great. I love that. See, now what we've just done is isolated the actual objection. We've gotten the agreement to close. Now I just have to figure out how to handle that objection. So Jessica, does it ever happen that the smoke is really not the fire and the first objection you got really isn't all the objections?
Yes. In fact, I may have said, it's my listing inventory. And then you'd say, so is that going to make you a 10? I'd say, well, I really love my broker. I'm really loyal. And so then we'd have to unpack that as well. And so you just want to keep digging until you're done, till you're that 10, and just receive the information. Don't solve the problem yet. You need to first receive all the information and isolate so you know what you're dealing with.
That's perfect. And there's psychology behind this. It basically says once you get into agreement that if I can solve all these things, and I don't know that I can solve them all, by the way, but if I can solve all of these things, we are psychologically agreeing to get into business together. That's really important. So let's jump into some of the objections that you're going to hear most often. Jessica, you do this every single day. What do you hear the most?
Well, there's really about 3 or 4 of them, and it really is, I love my broker. That's number 1 for me. Second to that would be a fear of loss of momentum in their business. This is going to be really disruptive. Change is hard. I've got so much going. I'm too busy, kind of the I'm too busy. And fear of money, losing income.
That's great. So let's break each one of those down. And I want to point out that fear is going to be at the heart of most objections. We have to understand people will join you for one of 4 reasons. It's going to be time, money, leverage, or opportunities. But those are never their objections. They don't say, I would join you, but I'm going to make less money. I would join you, but it's always about fear on the front end. Then we find out what the fire really is behind the smoke. So you said number 1 objection you hear most often is what?
I love my broker.
Love my broker. Now, cut script, that's code for we haven't built an emotional relationship with this person at such a level that they're less fearful to leave their current broker. So how do you handle that objection?
I just respect them and say, first of all, that I respect that they're loyal and that I love that my agents are loyal too. And then I pivot it back to them. And, a great way of doing that is to say, you don't owe me anything, do you? When you certainly don't owe your broker anything. But don't you owe you, your family, the best life possible?
Oh, that hurts. Yes, I do.
Because don't you love your family more than your broker?
I guess so. You got me. That's really good. No, I love that. I love that script. And by the way, I'd like to have some fun. Anytime someone's bringing up an objection, I like to have fun. And I'll say, that's great. We have more opportunity than we have talent to fill it. We're looking for a broker right now. Maybe we should get them on the phone. Let's show them that we are all encompassing abundance mindset, etc. But yes, you're right. I think that's a lot of it. Typically, when I have that objection, Jessica, I realize I haven't done a good enough job creating an emotional tie, an emotional relationship, an emotional bond. So I've missed something in the process. I would argue that 9 times out of 10, by this point in the conversation, I don't get that objection anymore. I did at the beginning of my career. How often are you getting that objection?
It's rare. It's one of the first needs analysis type questions, or it's an objection for the initial appointment. Like, no, I'm not going anywhere. I love my broker. So just know that if you're still getting that objection this far in, you may want to fine tune your skills in that area because you just need to break through that a little. And some people are just that loyal. So that means that you're going to really have to go in and show your stuff and build that relationship with your follow-up.
That is golden. I would write that down. So second objection you hear the most right now.
I don't want to lose momentum in my business.
Mm-hmm. Okay. How do you handle that?
Well, first of all, it's a misconception because the agent thinks that by moving and having change and all of that, it's going to slow down their business and it's going to be difficult and it's going to be messy. And so really painting a picture that by moving over to Keller Williams, you're resolving all their gaps in their business and in essence, giving them an extreme makeover to where they need to be to go hit the potential that they're yearning for. When you paint that picture for them and let them know it's going to be a really awesome transition, it's going to give them an extreme makeover and set them up for massive success, and that everyone that you hire that completes their transition has a tsunami of opportunity in front of them. And if you haven't set the table for that, this is probably the objection they're going to have.
That's really good. And I want to remind everybody that these are emotional responses. So a lot of times I'll do a pattern interrupt with something logical. And here's a little tip for you. Go look at the last 12 months of people who joined you from a different company and look at what their business has done. In general, people's business go up every year anyway. But what I was able to do as a team leader is show a 30% increase in business by joining Keller Williams. That is a magical, logical response when someone says, I don't want to lose momentum. So I totally understand that. Others have felt the way that you feel right now. Here's what we found. It's the feel, felt, found script, right? And then what you say is, and their business grew by 30%. Just the act of moving and calling everyone in your sphere of influence to tell them how excited you are to join Keller Williams is going to drive your business up, and we can prove it, right? You want to mix the emotion and the logic in this objection handling phase. So, Jessica, what's the third objection you hear the most?
Fear of change, the unknown.
Yeah, this is a big one. We in general as human beings don't love change, and especially if you're a real estate agent and you've got cards with your brand on it and all those things. So how do you handle that?
Well, you paint them a picture of what's possible and how great it will be once you've been able to have an impact on their business. And, there's simple ways I can do that. I story it out and I'll share stories of agents that recently moved that they may know their name or they may have had them in their office. And I'll give specifics on what we did, how it positively impacted them, and that when they moved, their business really went up. And at the end of the day, most agents have a lot of gaps within their business. So simply just focusing on their database and getting their database into our platform is such an uptick already. A lot of agents think they just have to keep doubling and doubling and doubling their business. So the other thing I love to do is just run their numbers on the 30, 30, 40 with them and say, what would that look like if I could just give you that extreme makeover that you need? Instead of you just chasing business, I could double your profit. Oh, wow. And that really does help make that objection go away.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I think and we have other training on, the positive present. And here's the thing you have to understand is most people believe they're living in a positive present, or they would make a change. In other words, the pain of what they're doing is not great enough to change what they're doing. So I walk them right through the positive present to negative future to positive future model. And it looks a little like this. Positive present is I'm happy where I am and I don't want to make a change, etc. And then you expose to them after all you've talked to them about with your tools and value and systems, and you show them, well, if you keep doing the things you're doing today, do you expect different results? And they realize, no, it's really kind of more of a negative present of what I really want. And then you say, and by the way, if you don't make any changes over time, what does your business look like down the line? And they go, oh my gosh, nowhere near where I want to be, negative future. Great. So if I can help you make these changes, put the systems and the models and the people and technology into your business, can I show you a path to that positive future? That's one way to get people out of the emotion of not liking change.
Well, and at the end of the day, if you end it with something like, the truth is most people need to change their environment to change their behavior. And my fear is that if you don't do something for yourself and your family, you're not going to hit your potential.
I love it. So Jessica, let's do the 3-minute version of how we can teach anyone to handle any objection at any time. If you'll grab your Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, and if you'll go to page 137, this is going to be a handler. Look at you, Jessica. You've got it right there on the shelf.
I always do.
If you go to page 137, you're going to find out how you handle anything lead related. This ties to money. This ties to opportunity, right? And what this is the lead generation model of the MREA. And so if you'll have this on your desk, anytime an objection has to do with more money or more opportunity or bigger life, that's the page that I would take them to. Conversely, page 273 is going to handle the time and leverage objection. So I just don't have enough time. I don't know how to hire someone, etc. Page 273 is going to be the org chart of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. If you nail those 2 pages, I promise you there's not an objection you can't handle. Jessica?
Well, and the thing is, there's always stories within your office that make it more tangible, and that's where you get that feeling. So for someone that's really emotion-based and less logic-based, I pair the 2 together, and I'll even take out the calendar and show classes that we have geared towards it so that it's really, they really believe and they know that I have proven to them that we can help them like this.
So here's what's next. We want you to download the script book, and again, have an accountability partner to practice with. And what we're going to do is we're going to practice specific pain points and what prescription we would use to help the associate. You ready, Jessica?
I am.